Today we're talking about how a true INFJ turns their vision into reality. In the last video, we talked about how important it is to improve our physical energy so we can take the steps to make it happen. And today we're going to narrow in on what those steps are. What we have to remember is we have to give up what we want now for what we want most. I heard this a while ago, so this isn't something that I made up, but for us INFJs, this actually means something different than for most people. I mean, think about it. If you hear the saying of you have to give up what you want now for what you want most, what do you think about from the top of your head? You would think, oh, that means giving up partying, giving up bad food, giving up, having fun or spending money now so you have better things in the future. Yes, that's what it means on a physical level. But for us INFJs, most of the things that will make a difference in our life are on a cerebral level. Yes, we have to take the physical steps, but the things we have to give up aren't those typical things that you think of if you hear this saying. And I think that's one of the reasons why so many INFJs actually are holding themselves back, because we hear these things and we automatically interpret something in them that isn't in alignment with who we are. It just doesn't work for us. Because most of us are not all about being on parties or being with 1,000 friends. We're not so much that person that continuously spends money to impress people with things that we don't care about, and we want to impress people that we don't care about. See, those typical things most of the time are not our problem. What is our problem then? It's the dopamine kick. It's whatever gives us this feeling of, this feels good. This is something that I'm going to hold on to. And most of the times, these are daydreams, these are visions, these are things that make us feel good right now, but they don't make us feel good in the long run. That's why so often we get a kick if we think about, in my vision, I'm going to be that person and it's going to feel so amazing and I'm going to have all this freedom and all this power and all of these opportunities. Well, it feels great in the moment if you think about it. And if you think about reality and what the steps are, that's not going to excite you. That doesn't give you the dopamine kick. Similarly, how many INFJs have you known who've had some kind of long distance relationship that didn't work, or who have experienced some kind of situationship because in their mind they had created this perfect relationship that could be, but that isn't grounded in reality? I know I've been that person more than once. And our challenge as INFJs is to recognize that there's a difference between reality and vision. Very often we're not capable of making that distinguishment. That's why I always say, is it an externally observable fact? Meaning, if in your mind you say, okay, I could be perfect with that person, and it gives me a dopamine kick to think about it. And of course, it's not just dopamine, there are endorphins, and I don't know what else. I'm not an expert at this, but we're talking about feeling happy, feeling excited about a thought. This is something that works for INFJs so well, and that most other types probably cannot understand. That's why most examples that come up when you hear the saying of give up what you want now for what you want most are not the things that actually make sense to us, because they don't tell us stop fantasizing over something that has no future. Stop fantasizing over things where you don't have an externally observable fact that this is happening. I've had this about job opportunities, I've had this about friends, I've had this about exciting lifestyles, and I've also definitely had it about people. And now I know better. I, as an INFJ, need to give up what I want now, which is the dopamine kick or whatever other kick I'm getting from thinking about things that don't have a future, in order to take the steps, which are actually boring right now, that will create long-lasting happiness for me. It doesn't feel good to say, okay, what is an externally observable fact? Well, the fact is, I don't like my apartment. I don't like my job. I'm not in the relationship that I want. These are really the externally observable facts right now. And for me, accepting this when I started this journey was probably one of the hardest phases of my life, because we're so great at detaching ourselves from reality because the thought of it is so negative. It's so heartbreaking that we rather just stay in our fantasy world. But this will not get you to where you want. And because this is so overwhelming, I've I've actually created the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. These are things I've experienced through the years, through trial and error. I've worked with my one-on-one clients on this. I've worked with our bootcamp members now for, I don't know, like almost 2 years. We continuously go over these things because we actually see results, and there is no such thing as now I've reached everything. We make it a point to take externally observable facts in all 5 pillars that are important for us, always keeping in the back of our mind that we are INFJs, meaning we don't have to do all the things. We just have to do the right things. You know, a great way to start with this is to download the free poster. You have the link below, and while you're at it, sign up for the waiting list for the bootcamp we launch at the end of this month, and then you get access to the early bird price. So don't miss out. The early bird price period is only going to be for 48 hours, so make sure you get notified so you can take advantage of this. So if you're an INFJ and you're aiming for that life transformation, that thing that's going to change your life forever, that's going to allow you to live that life where you can honestly say to yourself, I am living that INFJ epic life on my terms. This isn't just something I'm saying or I'm pretending in front of others. I don't even care anymore because I know deep down that I'm actually living it. It's such a fulfilling feeling to actually take the steps to lean into this. And it's not about reaching this one goal and then you'll be happy. It's the first day you start taking steps towards it. It's the first day where you accept reality, where you grieve it, where you come to terms that maybe it's not the way you wanted it to be, but that's the way it is. And before you can be grateful for your reality and you can build up on it, you first have to feel all the things that you actually don't like about it. Allow yourself to feel it, heal it, grieve it, and then start from that point. I've told you this example of many times of, for example, having your own business and being a writer, just as an example. But on the other hand, you have a job right now and you don't like that job. But because you want to be that writer and your current situation doesn't represent that, you're not willing to go for the better job. You're not willing to go for something that's going to improve your life in other areas. But that is what is necessary. We have to look at all the different areas in our life, our relationships, our physical energy, so we can actually take those steps, our wealth management, and then we can also look into our vocation. And an important aspect that we have to keep in mind, specifically as INFJs, is that just because something doesn't represent your vision, that does not mean that you're not actively growing. Every single time you grow as a person, every single time you grow in abundance in any kind of way, financially, in your relationships, closer to the purpose that you want to live out, all of that, every single step gets you closer to your vision. It's like climbing up a mountain that might not be the end all be all mountain, but every single time you're on that mountain, you will have a better view. You'll know what the next step is. So stop comparing your next step to your vision and saying, oh, this falls short to it. It isn't perfect. Think about, is this next step better than my current situation? Give up that dopamine kick for staying in that vision and choose the boring step that will actually get you to that vision. Ask yourself, the vision that you're having, is it actually something that you can actively take steps towards? And if it isn't, then change it. Remember, don't fantasize about a relationship that isn't going to happen. Don't fantasize about a dream job, about like this dream occupation when you aren't willing to take the steps that are necessary to make that happen. Rearrange your vision over and over again. Just allow yourself to dive into this, but always keeping in mind that this vision isn't a way for us to actually detach ourselves from reality because it's too hard to handle. And we can feel that dopamine kick. We can feel this great feeling at this moment. It's just an escape. Remember this. Our vision is our North Star. So we can then take the boring steps to create that vision in our reality. So that with time, your reality actually becomes more exciting at a default state. And when I say choose the boring steps, that does not mean that you have to do all the hard work, make the sacrifices, make the hard choice every single day over and over again all day long. Not at all. Remember, we are INFJs. We don't have to do all the things. We just have to do the right things. It's small steps that you continuously do that get you towards your vision. Check out the 5 pillars so you know what I'm talking about and include them into your schedule. Little steps make the biggest difference. I was already feeling so much more elevated once I started implementing them, because then for the first time, the trajectory of my life made me feel happy. That was a dopamine kick I didn't have to give up because it is always connected to steps that I'm taking in my current life. If you have a trajectory of your life that points towards your vision, and that includes all the little steps that might seem boring now, but which are just little steps you take here and there, they compound over time, you already feel elevated starting day one. That's how it was for me. That's how it was for the people I've worked with. And that's why we see this incredible results over and over again. Sign up for the waiting list if you want to be part of this. Download the free poster. The link is in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video on the exponential INFJ learning curve.